Yo guys, Beastt, back with some more Beastt content. So today we're actually going to be doing a different recording style. I'm using my phone as a mic to record this. But anyway, so we are building a nip farm. This is going to be about a 750 plant nip farm. The first thing we began doing was actually placing down what are the support pillars. These are going to be made of pure ferrite, essentially. That is what most of the ferrite based building materials do use, and they are great support pillars for biodomes. They allow you to stack biodomes directly on top of each other, allowing you to create 32 biodomes per floor to be harvested, or 32 plants to be harvested in each biodome per floor. The next thing we did was hop into our alien spaceship where we would be going to get some silicate. I also want to mention, has anyone else ever noticed the eyeballs in the ship actually are looking at the pilot as they are driving? You might not notice this unless you turn up your FOV in the text file settings, but anywho. Alrighty, so the next thing we did was continue to build these support pillar looking things. We did delete anything that wasn't going to actually be important for adding more biodomes, like the ones connected to the bottom biodomes and anything we accidentally placed already, just because we wanted to delete these as fast as possible because these do use a lot of pure ferrite. Luckily, I had created a whole bunch of pure ferrite in my nanites factory. I have a video down below to my nanites factory. I call it a nanites factory because in the video we were making nanites. However, the factory works for anything. Anyway, so the next thing we hopped into was our ice shard. It is my sports ship. I have my FOV turned up so it looks more like a sports ship in my cockpits. I just love it. It's only my ship FOV, but anywho, so what we were doing is actually going to get some more silicate. Hopefully this time this clip isn't too long. I went to record this earlier in the silicate gathering clip, just forever. This was about 2,000 silicate that we collected here in what was a good decent amount of time. It sped up for y'all, so y'all get to see how quickly this took. If you haven't seen my guide over how to get silicate quickly and efficiently, go down below. I would suggest you to get some frost crystals though, that way you can just make your glass in your inventory and not spend forever smelting stuff, because it just sucks to do that for glass. But anywho, once we were back, we made some more large refiners. We made 2 of these. These 2 are going to be the 2 base refiners. This is going to be mainly used for what we're going to need to use while construction, but we're going to keep them in order to have a place to create our facium, because I like to make my facium. As you can see here, this is where we began to smelt our glass as well as some more magnetized ferrite. This is how things are looking. We still have a ton of biodomes to go. We have placed down some more biodomes. I am loving how it is looking even now, just with a look at the generator in the center. The generator will actually be connected to these biodomes in the end, but as we continued to smelt down more silicate in the glass, which is what took the longest for this build, was turning all the silicate in the glass. I really wish I had a frost crystal farm by now. I don't know why I don't. But when we finally got done with that, the next thing we were going to actually need to be doing, after of course getting a quick glance and seeing what it looks like with all the domes just completed here. This is far from complete though. We still have tons of things to do, like landing pads and such. We also added some doorways every 2 biodomes. That way that floor was going to be where we were harvesting. That was going to be giving us 32 nip per 2 biodomes. So we were going to place a teleporter on each floor, using hallways as what were basically going to be used as teleport rooms, where we could teleport in there, harvest, and go to the next teleporter, teleporting all the way through the base in what is basically like a race to harvest the nip as fast as possible. I like to do speed runs on these nip farms when I do them like this, just because it is wonderful. The first bottom floor, we placed them down just 2 by 2 right beside each other in the center. However, the next few floors were going to be a little bit more difficult. We were going to have to add different corridors and such to the biodomes. This was going to allow us to be able to place stuff like portals, or what are teleport transporters, or like low distance or something like that. Basically, they'll teleport you all throughout your base. You just gotta go from teleporter to teleporter instead of, you know, climbing stairs or ladders or anything. Way better than any other sort of travel system through different parts of your base. Let me tell you that right now. So we then added what was this interesting wing here. which we first just tried to decorate with some normal carbon plants. But then shortly after we started doing this, the idea had hit me that everyone knows that when you're growing Nip Nip, you have to dry it for a good end result, right, guys? So we then began creating what were basically Nip Nip drying rooms. These are the rooms where the Nip Nip will be dried in order to be sold. That is the idea behind here. These will also be good rooms to collect some quick carbon. We can literally just hold the harvest button while running through here to the next teleporter. We built a good handful of these and just repeated the same thing. Knowing what we were building here made it a lot quicker to do. I don't know if we decorated them all. We also created what were basically pincers on the front of it to kind of give it like a bug alien looking shape. It didn't look quite alien enough to me yet, but overall I was liking the results so far. So the next thing we had to do was start placing down these short distance teleporters, which, guys, first of all, I ain't even got these all worked out completely to my liking. I can optimize my base just by working on the teleporters a tiny bit alone, due to how they sometimes can clip outside of the plane that you're building on and teleport you outside of it. One of my teleporters doesn't work quite right. It sometimes has an occasion of teleporting you out if you step too far into it. The solution is just to barely step onto the teleporter, that way you stay in the next room and it doesn't accidentally teleport you into another area. That's how it registers where to put you, is your exact coordinates to the next exact coordinates in the exact spot of the previous teleporter. So that is how you do it. This is just placed, guys. This is not the wiring, I don't believe. After that, we ended up deleting all of the doors on the biodomes. You can actually wire all of these without having to go in here. Actually, no, I'm pretty sure we wired these before deleting the doors because we needed to be able to get the camera in there. So we had already wired these too. We finally got the wiring done, so that's a good thing. This was 3 hours of building, guys, so pardon me if I'm a little confused on what we're doing at certain points of these. I tried to edit it as best as possible, but as you can see here, this was the last door here, I think. So as you can see here, this is what it's looking like now. I think the next thing we actually wanted to end up doing was work on a landing zone, which we added this kind of curvature looking alien thing with a landing pad for our starship, as well as a pillar which we were going to be placing different signage for, like advertisements or billboards or something like that. That was my idea behind it. I ended up just making it look pretty cool. We also added some little light decorations that are meant to be like they are also harvesting the power of the Nip Nip. I'm guessing these are just the giant stock boards telling everybody the prices of Nip Nip right now in this galaxy. We try to sell our Nip Nip only to starship vendors. That way it does not affect the economy of our galaxies that we have our Nip Nip in. That way we can just head straight to the space station of this galaxy. As I said, we did place these little light looking things around here. These are supposed to be meant to be harvesting the power of the growing Nip Nip here in order to fuel this place more efficiently. While we do have the primary reactor in the center of this place, the entire farm itself is going to be featuring a little bitty small additions that are going to be part of the center reactor. That's how I wanted to do it. That way I was connecting power units to everything. Even the landing pad has power here. It's just not an implemented feature. You know what I'm saying. So the next thing we did was attempt to fill this weird issue here where the pillar, since we built the pillar here and used it to support the thing, there is no floor to this here. So we tried a table and a couple different ideas, but overall we ended up just abandoning this room. It really just wasn't worth the trouble. There wasn't any sort of fixing this. This was just an entirely big mess. We tried all sorts of things. It really just wasn't working out. Alrighty, so we then just decided to go do some more decorating because, you know what, forget that stuff. So we added these things to the extended corridors. That way it also gave it sort of like alien looking, glowing looking things at the end of it. So it's like It's monstrously clawed looking things, with glowy things, harvesting the power of the Nip itself. We then planted some more planters, of course, to be creating some more growery rooms. Like I said, there was multiple tentacle thingies, so they all had a growery sort of thing here going on. This was the drying room, like I said before. This was another one. This one was actually the one that connected directly to the landing pad. This would be the actual exit of the farm. Once you start in the center where you spawn in, you will spawn in the center of the farm, and then you will run through all of the teleporters to this end corridor here. Also, you'll be able to harvest all of the carbon here, just in case you need some carbon, because we do need carbon for our facium, and this is the easiest carbon farm because it's along with the Nip that we're needing the carbon for. We then went outside to the landing pad, and where we put the 3 boxes that fixed the doorway having a walkway to walk on, we placed these weird little attachments of all sorts. We even used the potted plant as like these little bitty receptacle things for energy, harvesting the power of Nip. We then also used that weird looking light fixture I like to use so much. These can actually shrink down really small. Here's what it was looking like. I like it. I think it goes in with it. It's once again capacitors and such that are needed to keep this farm going and using the power of Nip. It does take a lot of technology in order to harvest the power of Nip, so you must place technology on a lot of areas of your base. I think the bottom silos actually are going to be getting an upgrade in the recent future with some underwater domes. So the next thing we're gonna do actually is get on into the harvesting of this farm, so I'll see y'all in just a bit. Alrighty guys, and as you can see here, we are at the farm. We do need to get inside. I placed this teleporter outside of it. Here is the insides now. Here's the floor down here. We ran a bunch of wires onto some capacitors down here. That way there's more of a, you know, a design going on there. I would cover what's going on here, but we'll get into that in the cinematic-y thing. But for now, we need to go to what is the GekLord's area here. I have marked it with a Gek statue here, and then we have the actual little ship sign here to tell you this is where you go back to your ship, sort of thing here, just in case you landed here on the landing pad and wanted to go in here. But right here is my base teleporter. We're gonna go ahead and hop right here. As you can see, we are in the base room. Technically, you could sit in here if you really needed the carbon and harvest this, but I'm gonna leave it because 1, I like how it looks, and 2, I like how it looks. So the only problem with this setup here with the teleporters is you do gotta be careful not to step on the teleporter until you have harvested the plants. As you can see here, this one worked better. I need to turn them all like this one, I do believe. This one actually teleported me into one of my more favorable type of biodomes in this farm, onto this one, which teleports you directly in front of the next teleporter. And the way to get to it is a little bit crowded there, but it does work without a hitch. That is the important part, is where it teleports you out to. So harvest plants there and hop onto this teleporter here. And as you can see here we go to the next one. Once again, a little difficult, but you can do it. I didn't feel like picking it up, because the instant you pick it up, the teleport cable will be gone, and you will have to go ahead and refine wherever that teleport cable was. And I kind of zigzag it, so you're zigzagging through the base to give you kind of a better view of the other places, or even a worse view, I suppose. But some of those were already harvested because I'd harvested them. This is not 100% filled. Like I said, this is about 700 plants here, but it is a very good example if you ask me. This one is accessible too, like I said, and it almost becomes this kind of trip where you're like, did I even go through that portal? And usually you did. And we're gonna go again, and here we go. When there wasn't any plants in here, I thought I was just looping through portals for a second, just because of how many of the exact same looking rooms these will be in. I don't think we fixed our inventory yet. That is a big issue. One thing we need to do still, and it looks like our Minotaur is going to be attacking us today because he happens to be around. That's wonderful. So let's go ahead and dump some stuff in here. This is definitely the ship I like. So we're gonna dump just some stuff real quick just to get ourselves some room for the nip. So we'll keep going now. Here we go. We'll dump it again if we have to, but let's keep going on to this one, which we're gonna harvest. Once again, it starts to trip you out on if you even went anywhere, because this looks like one of the other rooms, and it's just as annoying as the other room. So yeah, it must be this side too. Yeah, we're gonna have to go up this thing, and at least it works, guys. I didn't feel like moving it. I'm sorry. I will be updating that for my own convenience eventually. And as you can see here, oh man, that would trip me out actually. But that was sweet. I like how these curved ones do, because they take you down a long hallway and then put you into the farm, just to kind of break up the constant everything, you know. I am glad I added those corridors. They do break everything up. And once again, we have to dump this to our Minotaur. Sorry, Minotaur, today you are going to be a nip mule. So onwards, my nip mule, onwards with your nip. So let's go ahead and get this harvested and continue. We should be getting closer to the end. As you can see there's the middle center power system we got going on there. I quite like my power generator being made of nip. It makes it for very nice farms. The freighter has 10,000 power by default, so it's really not fair for the base power system to be so complex and annoying when the freighter is just 10,000 creative inventory, but in survival mode at all times, even on normal difficulty. That's ridiculousness, because it makes any other form of a nip farm not so valuable, just because of the fact that you're going to have to power the thing eventually, unless you just use creative power or you use nip power. Like I said, that way you don't really feel like you're using creative power, because you had to build the power generator thing, and it was time and energy you did do into it. And especially if you use creativity, that's a key thing in a lot of this stuff here. If you use creativity on your builds, you will have a lot more time in this game. It is a gorgeous, wonderful game with so many different planets to explore, with all sorts of types of planets, like the exotic decoration in my generator. There are so many different shattered worlds to explore. They have all sorts of crazy decorations. Everything is trippy looking. It's just all insane. There's shattered pieces of the ground. The ground could be being lifted up. There could be purple orbs pulling up from the skies of the ground. This game is just wonderful, guys. This has been the video, though, guys. I am going to get out of here and just let y'all go ahead and check out a bit of a cinematic shot here. This is my new nip farm. Work in progress when it comes to the planning, but we do have 700 plants that are going to be pulled out of this, so it will definitely be adding in my amount of credits I have daily. But I'll see y'all guys later. Go ahead and check out the cinematic shot. Let's go.